Welcome to your 13th tutorial on beginning HTML. In this video, we're going to continue with HTML forms and look at radio buttons. Radio buttons are those small circular buttons you see on websites, used to take surveys or to ask the user's preference for a particular subject. The key to radio buttons is that you only want the user to be able to select one choice. That's all they get with a radio button, one choice. In this video, we're going to set up a simple yes or no choice, which will be displayed as radio buttons that the user can select. As you can see here that we've set up our labels here, using normal text, and we will be using the input element this time and set the type to radio. This is the type we use for radio buttons. In previous videos, we set this type to different settings for different forms. For instance, for the one-line text box, we set this to text, but for radio buttons, it is radio. The name has to be the same for all of our radio buttons because these are all considered one question. To tie them together, you have to use the same name. If you use a different name here, you will be able to select all the radio buttons, and we don't want that. We only want them to be able to select one radio button. The value, we're not going to worry about that now, because it is what actually gets submitted to the server. We'll deal with that in a future video when we talk about server-side code. Just know that the value is sent as the answer. For instance, if I answered yes to this question, this is what would be sent to the server, where it would be processed. We'll talk about that in a future video. Let's go ahead and refresh our page. There you see we have our two radio buttons, and we can only select one of them. Now, watch what happens when we put in a different name here. I'll show you this. We'll refresh the page, and now you see I can select both of these. That's why these names have to match. If they don't, you will be able to select both radio buttons. Again, that's not what we want. We only want to be able to select one. So, the two key things to think about here are that it is some sort of preference, question, or survey that you're asking the user, and they only get one choice. What if you want the user to be able to select multiple items? Well, that's where a checkbox comes into play. I will see you guys in the next video where we will talk about the checkbox.